Uh, is there any public comment?
There is not.
All right, so we'll just continue to plow ahead. I'm assuming that we do not have a quorum, so we can skip over the approval of the minutes.
Correct.
All right. Todd, do you want to go into a little bit of the review of the charter and the subcommittees before we go to breakout?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so before I do that, the plan here today is to review, in particular, the measurable outcomes that are highlighted in the charter. And then we're going to do the breakout rooms as listed on the agenda. So Aaliyah is going to help us to populate those breakout rooms. The way we're going to structure them is that the leads that were either volunteered or were designated for each of the different components, three components of that are called out on the charter, will be sort of leads in those discussions. So that'll be, it was going to be Charlie and Sherry on employability skills, but that will just now be Sherry, which I'm sure she is completely and wonderfully capable of doing that.
Charlie
and then
called
the project,
me.
What's that?
Charlie called me, so I'm good.
Okay, good. And then on STEM Lift, that'll be Venkat and Sarala. And then on early college and career readiness, that'll be Shali and Eric. So there's a little bit of context for you all. Now I'll go ahead and share my screen. First, we wanted to, as I said, work back through the charter. I'm sure many of you have this now memorized and probably read it once a day. That said, I wanted to make sure, oops, here, let me move this over. Can you see that?
Yes. Yes, Todd, we can see that.
So I'm going to focus real quick because I think the most important thing that we do today is talk about all this and then come back and report. So we got about, I think, 35 minutes appropriated for the discussion, and then another 15 minutes to come back and share. And oh, by the way, Aaliyah has asked that those leads that I just mentioned, take a few notes and send them to her in terms of what's discussed so that she can include those high-level comments in the minutes for the meeting to abide by public meeting law. So under Operation Expand OES on the charter, when you have your conversation, please try to focus on and then come back and report on not just the discussion, but in particular the measurable outcomes, which are around on the OES, securing enough funding to support and sustain existing baseline work from minimum of the next 3 program years, to secure commitments from WRC's top 5 high impact untapped program partners. I hear good things about all the stuff that Sherry's continuing to work on, so I'm guessing there'll be stuff to chat about there. Thirdly, project plans and funding strategies for new partners is due by end of December this year. And fourthly, to secure funding to support full implementation for those new partners in 2026. Moving on to Project STEM, just to highlight measurable outcomes in that section of the charter. There's 4 of them. Research on need, design, and tool options by end of this month. Advocate and fundraise planning by end of the calendar year, with full funding commitments secured by May of next year. Thirdly, 6 school district pilots operational during 26-27 school year. And last, 30% improvement over baseline of prior understanding of math and science knowledge areas. And then thirdly, last but not least, measurable outcomes on CTE for all. Two of them, a time-limited ad hoc work group to inform, support ODE plus quarterly time on WRC agendas for updates and facilitated input from the broader WRC membership, and then sign support to an ODE strategy and plan, including recommendations to the governor, legislators, and high-impact agency directors. I also wanted to flag this next piece before we move into the discussion groups. We need to do a couple of things here. I think we've got the first thing pretty well in place. We're on a regular basis at our board meetings. We get quarterly updates from the co-chairs around what's happening in the Workforce Readiness Committee. I think the second one is the one I really wanted to flag because it's right around the corner, and that is the final report that's due to the WTDB at their December quarterly board meeting. So if you have any thoughts about that, people who want to volunteer to get involved in that report writing, you could also discuss that in your group. So Tom, that's all I've got. If you have other comments, please feel free to share those. Otherwise, oh, looks like Sarala has a question.
Yeah, Todd, I know I'd sent this only to a limited audience, but I had some comments about the charter in general. And of course, the stem lift part, Venkat and I can discuss and others, but I'm assuming since the agenda is already fixed here, we put that out for next meeting, or because
yeah, is there a way to incorporate your thoughts in the breakout session so we can kind of do both at the same time, or you think it's something that will take a little bit more time?
Well, no, definitely for the stem lift part, I can do that there, and maybe we may come back with some recommendations to add. But I had a general kind of comment on the equity part across the whole charter, that I don't see an intentional call out on action items around that, although it's on the strategy. And so that was my general and one of my comments, which we can discuss at some other point, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say thanks for that, and then feel free to bring up your concerns or comments or observations in the breakout, and then we can work through those if we have time today. If not, we could definitely get that on the agenda for next month's meeting. Does that sound like a reasonable approach?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because some are specific to the work group, and a couple are specific to the entire charter. So yeah.
Sherry's got her hand up.
Yeah, real quickly, if there's anything that you see in there that pertains to OES and you'd like to have a conversation, if it has to do with maybe understanding what we're doing along those lines, or suggestions along those lines, feel free to reach out to me individually as well.
Sure.
Okay, in order to kind of stay on schedule here, it is time for us to do our breakouts. So, Aaliyah, are we set?
Yes. So what I'm going to put in the chat right now is all 3 breakout rooms. Unfortunately, since I don't have the ability to create breakout rooms in this space, you will get to choose your own. I had a lot of people request to be in certain ones, so you can choose which one you go into. My only request is that if you're leading the group, please go to the group that you're leading.
Yeah.
And then I put down at the bottom at 11:40 is 5 minutes before our discussion report out. So I put return to Workforce Readiness Committee right down there at the bottom. All those links should take you to the correct place. And then I'll hang out here in case we need to troubleshoot something.
All right. So everyone, make your selection. It's over in the chat room, and we will see you back here at 11:40.
I'm not sure what's going on. Aaliyah, are you there?
I lose everybody?
Are you there, Venkat?
I am. Can you hear me? Looks
I
like they
can.
got
How did you
kicked
get
out.
into the chat room?
I don't know. I tried going to that other room and then I got kicked out. So I'm going to go back to the breakout room.
Aaliyah is not answering. Hold on, I'll send her an email. Hmm.
What room did you want to try to go to? I'm sorry. Hello to anybody left in this workforce readiness committee room. Is there a breakout room I can help you get into, or are you just waiting until members come back?
I was trying to get into breakout room 3.
Breakout room 3. Okay. I ran into the issue where I had to log into each of the breakout rooms to let everyone in. So if you go pop on over to there, I'll let you in.
It wasn't even like I click on the link and nothing happens. Like the link in the chat.
Weird.
Yeah, like I clicked and I also logged back out and logged back in.
And then logged back in and it still didn't allow you?
No, I click on it and like nothing happens. Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I get a notification that says I can't log in at all.
Weird. Do you guys have Teams accounts? Like,
Yeah.
okay. I am gonna put
Go ahead.
I'm gonna put it back in the chat. I unfortunately wish I knew how to troubleshoot this more.
Actually, I think I see what one recommendation is. We have to completely exit this to then go into the breakout room, is what is my notification is saying.
So I
when
wonder
click
if,
on it,
unlike
yeah.
everyone else was able to like put themselves on hold. I don't know how that works. But I did put the link again for breakout room 3 in the chat, if maybe that works better. If not, I might be able to invite you to that one specifically, and that might help as well. Did you both want to join breakout room 3?
No, I'm going to go to 1.
Okay.
I think it's working for me now.
Awesome. Yay.
We have a few that still are out. We'll let all the on holds fill here. One of them is our fearless leader.
I'll go check in with those breakout rooms real quick and see where they're at.
All right, looks like we have everybody back. Did we lose Todd in the transition here?
I'm back.
Oh, there you, okay, I hear you. All right, well, group one is up, so Venkat and Sarala, you're up for giving us a update.
Sarla, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, we also had Justin join us and Adrian, and as well as Todd. So that was good. Our committee is growing bigger. It was just Venkat and me. So I think one of the first updates we got from Todd and Venkat was on the measurable action as far as the AI tools. I believe there have been discussions with someone named Rhonda. I don't know, Todd, who that is. And there's been interest in school districts in Eastern Oregon, Southern Oregon. But it seems like we may not be able to cover 6 districts, but maybe 6 schools. But Venkat felt that we have to start somewhere. Did I capture that correctly, Venkat?
Yes, that's right. And one of the challenges is figuring out who the decision makers are going to be in these schools and districts. So we'd like to go with some of the bold and innovative schools who are willing to try out a pilot program, and yes, and we want to make this a part of align this with other work that's happening in this area, both with the Semiconductor Consortium as well as the STEM Council and Future Ready Oregon, the Technology Consortium. So we're looking forward to a partnership with all of these.
Yeah, and real quick, the Rhonda was Rhonda Rhodes at CTEC High School here in Salem, and her counterpart over at Willamette Career Academy. Rhonda in particular was excited about the opportunity to do a demo of Conmigo and said that she would be very interested, assuming that that went well, in considering a pilot for her school. So I thought that was pretty encouraging.
Mm-hmm. So the second set of things we discussed was that there were some committee actions that didn't have measurable outcomes. And so the one was, I mean, I don't have it word for word here, but it was about the curriculum and making sure that we include physics in it along with math. And this discussion is happening in several other forums. So what Todd suggested is that our committee could have input in the work that's going on the Technology Consortium, as well as the Semiconductor Council, is that what it's called? So we decided that that's how we would document first have a discussion there and say that would be our measurable output as contributing to those activities rather than overlapping or duplicating it. And the last item that we discussed was the issue of putting some intention, how we're going to intentionally focus on equity and putting some measurable goals around that. So that's my comment even for the entire charter, but just to stick to this. And so I think we decided that we would have some discussions by email and get Justin's and Adrian's comments as well. And then, yeah, for further discussion. That was about it, I think.
Great, thank you for the update. The only question I have, you did mention, a few schools like CTech that were interested. Have you targeted the actual 6 schools or districts you're going to be going for?
No, we're still in the process of meeting with multiple educators and districts. I don't think we've identified 6 yet. We're trying to see who is casting a wider net through the STEM hubs and also through this committee and some other contacts that Todd and I have to see how many we can at least talk to and then whittle down that list to 6.
Okay.
So work in progress.
All right, thank you for your report. You're right on schedule, 5 minutes. So Sherry, you're up next.
Yeah, in our group, we discussed the braided funding, and we don't have any announcement at this point, but we are getting closer to, we are in discussions right now with some folks about that braided funding process, that if it materializes, we'll be moving in that direction. We also talked about strategic partnerships because there are partners that, so Dean would be an example of a partner that I've been able to work with who does some of the type of work that I'm doing. And in our partnership, we're able to do more. So I want to make sure we're not trying to create partnerships where there are natural partnerships. And I don't want to, I don't know all of that. So I'm counting on people to help me create those partnerships. And then I wanted to turn it over also to Dean and Howard and anyone in our group who would like to share, because I think we were going to do a little bit of that too.
I'll just add that in our conversation, I suggested that I think it's also important to be able to create a vision of what the outcome will be, as well as report on the outcomes. And, everybody I really believe is kind of tuned into WIIFM, what's in it for me or what's in it for their entity. And if we can't speak to that, that hurts us. So I think that is a critical component, being able to articulate the outcomes of putting their kids through these programs or through the courses.
I'll only add to Howard, one of your comments that I think is important. We've been hearing it for years, ever since we started this, is what are the measurable outcomes? How do we show those partners that there is in fact something for them and not just they're participating in something that's kind of neat. Maggie, you had one other comment, and that was about cloning Sherry. So if you would, please.
One thing that I just brought to the conversation is that in this work, we don't have a lot of feet on the ground, and it's definitely something that is needed. By being in institutions, all of our work mostly is in-house within the institutions that we are in, and that's where our work is for the most part. But we're also trying to engage community, in which employers are community. So how do we get more footprints and get more work on the ground to help kind of like roll out or learn what Sherry has done and multiply it so we can have enough people working in different areas of the state where we can have that accountability, know what's happening, and be able to implement this at a deeper level. So that is what I offer to the conversation, because if we will be very limited what we can do unless we do have more individuals that are in different regions that are mirroring what Sherry is doing. Because our jobs are having us in our institutions and not able to get out there like we have, Sherry has been able to do.
The one last thing I'll offer to that is that we have 21 people in the room today, and we all have network connections. And in line with what Maggie said, we're cross-functional here, and whether it's what what Sarala was talking about, or what Sherry's talking about, or what Eric's going to talk about. We need to have that within our mind and share it with our networks and let them know that there's a workforce readiness committee that meets, and we have these objectives and agendas items, and we want outcomes, and we want them to participate and spread that. So, we're looking for partners here. So spread the word all the way for all of this stuff. And with that, I will move. Well, let me ask Aaliyah real quick. Do we have a quorum? Did we lose Aaliyah?
No, I'm still here. Yes, we do have a quorum.
So let me just break before Eric starts. May I get a motion for acceptance of the minutes from the last meeting?
I will motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, the item's approved. So Eric, go ahead and fill us in on your meeting.
Thank you, Tom. So we were joined by Christadel McGregor from ODE today, my frequent collaborator on the college credit in high school, early college credit project. And so we focused on that today in our breakout. And in our breakout, Christadel was able to remind folks about the 4 project deliverables we have for college credit in high school. And then we went into actually the breakout group getting to test drive the survey, the statewide survey, to help us form a vision for college credit in high school in Oregon that is imminently going out. They got to see a kind of a little sample visual that's going to accompany some communications coming out from HEC and ODE, and a QR code and a link to take the survey. Folks in our breakout actually got to take the survey, which was really helpful for us as the initial group doing this. And after taking that survey, which appeared to take about 10 minutes, and I'll just say before I forget, when we do have the mass send out coming soon, please share with your networks just to support what Tom was saying. After the survey was completed, though, we were also kind of doing a test run on a few specific engagement questions, and then we ran out of time. So good learning experience for us facilitating that, about kind of how much time it's going to be to go through these types of engagements for us. And we did in those follow-up questions after the survey, we did also try to bring in thinking about that statewide vision for college credit in high school, where CTE or CTE for all could fit into that, and also where employability skills and OES could fit into that vision for college credit in high school as well. So that's sort of where we landed. Yeah.
Sarala.
Yeah, Eric, so regarding the survey, so if say the STEM Lift committee wanted to do a survey, and I was thinking about from the equity lens, reaching out to different organizations, what resources do we have to do that? Like what resources did you have?
Well, I'll say that at the HEC, we had a Qualtrics account. So we were able to design the survey in Qualtrics, which was helpful. I think I didn't actually design, I didn't do the Qualtrics work, but just because it can give us some sort of a more advanced tool for some synthesis of the results. But we created that, sort of in-house though, HEC and ODE, using HEC's Qualtrics account. And I think we're just going to be reliant on a lot of, well, of course, HEC and ODE communications leads, sending that out through newsletters, and then just our own sort of networks we all work with in as well. So I'm not sure that answers your question, but that's sort of what our approach was.
Yeah, no, it does. But I guess if we decide to do that at the committee, then I can talk to Todd more about it and see what support we can get. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, there are other options that would be available in terms of a survey if that's the way you decide to go. So yeah, we can sort that out as things evolve.
Any last questions or comments before we close it for the day?
I know we're a little, I'm just going to add one thing to what Eric said. Hi, everyone. Christina McGregor from ODE. The survey is sort of the first step of our vision statement drafting as well. So the other thing is later on, and as we push out the survey, we'll have this information for you too. We're going to have some engagement sessions to give feedback on an actual draft of the mission statement. So that's another thing that's another time when we may be asking you all for input and for input from the groups that you interface with.
So Susan has a note in the meeting chat. Where would you like the notes for the breakout session sent to? So Leah, can you respond to that, or Todd?
I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat.
Okay, great.
And I'll add those to the meeting minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaliyah.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody showing up. Todd, can you hang on here for a little while? I have a couple of things I want to tell you. Other than that, thanks to all of you for participating today. And looks like we're making movement, and it's certainly expanding the vision that we started off with when we first started the Workforce Readiness Committee. So kudos to all of you, and thank you for your help.
Thanks. Thank you, Tom.
Sure.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
So
Figure out